Today I'm joined by my buddy Evan. Evan's been working with the Pfeiffers for, man, I think we've been working with them for over 10 years. So Caroline and I owned a bunch of rental properties. We just recently sold them. We owned up to 16. And Evan was a guy that saved us money year after year. He's incredible. He's awesome. And while you can do this on your own, like full disclosure, anything we're about to talk about, you as a homeowner can go do this yourself. The reality is, I wouldn't dare do it without Evan. That's my choice. Again, we'll talk to Evan and find out more on why that is. But the reality is, guys, like this is an opportunity. If you can work with Evan, if he covers your area, and that's the key. If he knows your area, can cover your area, he'll help you. And if he can find professionals that he knows, likes, and trusts, and refer to others, if he doesn't cover your area, that's almost equally as good. Again, check this out. And certainly if you guys find some value in this, it's that time of year. So be sure to share this with your friends and forward that on to make sure that you're taking care of those you love and hopefully saving money by getting them in touch with good folks. So tell me this, my man. So obviously you and I have known each other for a long time. And to my knowledge, your primary focus, if not all, is in Dallas County. Is that still true? Is it exclusive to Dallas these days and you're doing nothing outside of it?
Um, the majority is in Dallas. I'm handling in Collin and Denton, depending on where they are and how old the home is and the neighborhoods. And then down in Waco and McLennan County and Harris County down in Houston. I'll take other select counties, but I'm really not doing the lake houses or vacation homes and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So in other words, you are taking, as long as you're familiar with the area, know the county, and know the house itself, in the sense
Right.
that if you know that there's value to be added, you're gonna help them. But if there's nothing you can do, you're not going to take that on as a client.
For instance, in Denton County or Collin County, where you've got the new communities coming up that are maybe only 2 or 3 years old, where you've got, 4 or 5 different homes that everybody's got the same home and finish out, and they just bought them within the last 2 years, there's really not going to be much movement on those values.
Where do you see the biggest value? So based on that, I'm just going to guess the opposite then. It's existing homes, older, maybe that have had either some updates done or no updates, and the county just thinks the values keep going up and up. Is that kind of the
Yeah,
switch?
Dallas, it's in between the toll road and Hillcrest, or 75. You've got Preston Hollow, you've got Highland Park, you've got Bluffview, Lakewood. So you're a little bit outside of those areas, but where you've got a bunch of teardowns and you've got multiple class of homes, 1 story, 2 story, new ones, old ones on the block. And so that those older homes that are 5 plus years, they're not that old, but older homes, anywhere from 5 to 50, 60 years old, you're going to get a much better hit with those homes.
Gotcha. And as far as compensation, I know because we've done a lot of work together over the years with all of our investment properties. Is it still the same where you just take a cut of the savings? Like there's no money up front, or is
Yeah,
it?
I've got 2 different plans right now because of what's happened. I've got the 36% of the actual tax savings. So if there's no tax savings, there's no fee. Now that's on a home that's on a rental property and or a home that's not capped. And cap means that they didn't go up more than 10% on your increase. If they go up more than 10% on your increase, you're capped at the 10%. But once you get in, last year we were having clients that were raised 15, 20%. Then we were going in and getting $100,000 reductions, but it wasn't saving them anything. And so what I've instituted, because that still takes a lot of work and they need the help and you want to close that gap. So it's $2.50 per $1,000 of reduction over the cap. But let's say you're 20,000 over the cap, but I get you reduced 40,000. I'm only going to charge you on the 20,000 actual tax savings. It's not both.
Gotcha.
It's either or, but it's something that a lot of the agents are doing because it's the only way you can be compensated for all the work. If I don't get you anything, if it's zero, no matter what, there is no fee.
And I know that's happened with you with one, maybe the house we're in now, but same thing. Like you actually did we did hit a cap. We went over the cap. You actually got the tax value lowered, but it doesn't help me this year. It will help me
Right.
in the future. So
Right.
now that makes total sense because obviously if there's no savings, but yet you still added value,
Right.
that's where the payment comes in up front. So do they know that? I guess you really don't know in the beginning which plan it's going to be. So I guess is your job then to present both to say, here's what it's going to be.
Well,
Here's what it may look like.
what I'm doing now is just having them sign a blanket contract that includes both of them, because I don't know until they release the values. But once they release the values and I start filing protests, you really can't get in touch with each client individually, because that would take all the time rather than focusing on getting them the best deal.
Right.
But there'll be certain clients that say, hey, before you do anything, please reach out. I need to know. So I'll have that on a separate list. They just all have to be patient with me, because I try to move as quickly as I can to
Right.
everybody taken care of and get everybody the best deal possible.
Now, tell me this: if somebody, how many of your clients try this on their own before they call you, and then they throw up their arms and say, "Man, I couldn't get it, or it didn't work, or I'm frustrated." What percentage of people that come to you have that experience?
I'd say maybe 15 or 20%. Like, I had one that just signed up the other day that said they did it themselves last year and they were frustrated. They spent a lot of time. And I said, send me what you did. And so he sent me he did this whole spreadsheet. And I'm like, it's all wrong because you're comparing yourself to homes that the appraisal district doesn't compare you to. So when you sent that in and you had your hearing, they're looking at it and they're like, we're not going to do anything because all the homes you listed aren't the same class as yours. They're not the same grade as yours. You've got to make adjustments for number of bedrooms, maybe the number of garages, if you've got a pool, how many fireplaces you have. And a lot of people think, oh, the house across the street from me is valued at X, but they don't realize that the home is a different type of home. Maybe it's got a different type of roof. Maybe you're stucco, it's brick. There's a lot of things you've really got to look at. And so, not to say that the individual homeowner can't be successful. And I always recommend, whether you want to use me or another company, just go protest it. Because everybody that protests, if you can get your whole block to protest, it just helps overall everybody's value.
No question. And I, from our side on the mortgage front, we see the same thing often too, especially when it comes to appraisals, where folks just assume it's a dollar per square foot equation. It's not.
Right,
I tell
right.
folks the dollar per square foot is the result. It's not how you get to the number. It's the result of the number, just from a mathematical part. But you're so right as far as knowing what the appraisal districts actually look at, use, compare is so much more than the layman can truly understand and comprehend. And we won't go into this because I know some of this is your secret sauce, but when you and I have had conversations before about the actual process and what you do different, specifically as a professional, and how you go down with a stack of files repeatedly, go down to the authorities to say, here's what this, and I'm not saying it's a game, but there's certainly salesmanship to it, right? There's certainly knowledge, product knowledge, industry knowledge to say, here's what market knowledge, here's what this area is, and presenting that case. Absolutely. That's I remember being blown away when we this is not last, but the last time we had you come in and do a thing to my team, it was incredible. So I will tell you that if this is a commercial for you for that reason. So tell me this, if somebody,
Here's the difference. Okay, for instance, I don't know if you're familiar on Hillcrest up by McCallum, where they've got it closed off and they're digging down for the dart rail.
okay,
So I've got a bunch of clients in that area. I have people that called me last year that went to try to get their own homes reduced that couldn't get them reduced. And then I took a bunch of homes in that area to be reduced. I met with the appraisers and they weren't going to do anything. So I said, fine, I'm just going to take it to a hearing. So go to the hearing, and I got, I don't know, I think it was like 35 or 40 homes that are right in that area that were being affected. They could either hear the construction, see the construction, their roads were blocked off. And we get one or two done with the hearing. And we were going to be there for 2 days. And the appraiser said, let me go talk to my boss and see if we can just pull these back off the hearing and just say, okay, we're going to give you this standard reduction based on what they just did off of these, because otherwise we're going to be just wasting a lot of time. And I'm like, that's great, because my clients are going to be happy. I'm happy, that type of thing. But if one homeowner had taken their case into there,
sure,
it's real easy for them to say no, because they're done with that person and they move on to somebody else. But if they've got 40 homes in the same neighborhood, they've got to be able to settle those. So that's why in that instance, it's probably better to go with somebody like me. if you just bought your house and you paid 2 million for it within the last year, and they come on the tax rolls and they put you at 2.3, you might as well go do that yourself, because all you need to do is take a closing statement and call me the following year.
Yeah.
And I'll tell people will call me at the last minute and they'll be like, I've got this. And I'm like, look, I am overwhelmed at this point. Let me save you some money this year. Just send me some references for next year and call me back, because there's no reason for me to take something from you that's that simple that you could do yourself.
That's the biggest reason why I love working with you, and I have zero reservations about sending folks over to you. Is you'll shoot them. You shot me straight, you shoot them straight, and at the end of the day, you don't get paid unless there's actual value added. So it doesn't help anybody for you to sit there and do the easy stuff that they can go down and walk in the courthouse and just get it done themselves. So I appreciate that about you. I will absolutely commend and endorse you on that front. What can somebody do better? So if somebody boldly wants to go and do their, what are one or two things that they can do that maybe they wouldn't ordinarily do to try to do this themselves?
If they're going to go down and meet with them or talk to them on Zoom or send a letter to the appraisal district, there's different ways to do it. Don't go and say, oh, it's noisy because I live off Preston Road. That you knew that when you bought the house. That's not going to get anywhere right now with the way that the economy is and home prices. You need to give clear facts. Basically, look, I've lived in my house for 10 years. And when I moved in, my bathrooms weren't redone. We still haven't redone them. There's been 3 sales on my street, and all 3 of those were completely redone. They've got new countertops. They've got a new fancy shower. I don't have any of those things. I've got foundation problems, things like that. You can't say, well, my neighbor doesn't mow their lawn. That's not going to work because you can go to many streets where somebody doesn't mow their lawn and the house next door to them still is selling in 1 or 2 days. So you need to give just clear, concise facts about your own house. If you're going to say that you've got foundation problems, it helps if you call a foundation company and they come out and they give you an estimate. It doesn't mean you've got to do the work. Foundation companies are used to that. If you've got a handyman, think about it like this. If you were going to put your house on the market tomorrow, what might you have to do to get it ready? So if you've got to paint, if you've got to recarpet, if you've got windows that have fog in them, get some estimates. And some of that stuff you can do online yourself. You can go on like Home Depot or different things like that and get those costs. And sometimes I'll do that myself for a client just because they just aren't computer savvy enough or want to go through that detail, but I still know I can get a good reduction. And like you said, I want them to save so I can make money.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's a lot of things like that you can do. It's just a matter of, does the homeowner want to go through that? And I think a lot of my clients are doctors, lawyers, teachers that can't really take the time off during the day to go meet with the appraisal district and spend that time doing that.
Yep. And I got to be honest, either I could take the time, I wouldn't want to, but I think to echo what you just said is, one, come with data, right? Come with facts, take the emotion out of it,
Right.
And present it in terms of, unfortunately, you are trying to call your house ugly, right? You're trying to tell them everything that's wrong with it, what it would take to get it up to speed from a dollar amount, even if they're estimates, to say, here's what I'd have to do to get it to look like and feel like and be the one across the street. And there's some things you can't or won't change, but the one across the street's, updated and yours isn't. Your job's to show that difference and get that done. And then the appraisal process, once you're in there, I've had some stories shared with me about people who've done it. I personally have never done it because I just go to Evan. I just go to you, right? I'm like, not my world, not my problem.
Right.
And again, I think this the easiest selling proposition you have, which is you don't get paid unless there's value added. And I can almost promise, there's no way to ever truly know this, I can guarantee with about a 99% assurance that you are going to be successful, way more successful than I will. I might be able to knock down the value some.
Right.
I have absolute confidence that you're knocking down more because of what you do, your relationships you have down there, and the fact that you do this as a group, like you talked about earlier with the, I'm going to use air quotes, class action lawsuit, right? Where you get those 40 homes together and you got the power of neighbors and neighborhoods And it's not just one man fighting the system. So I think that's huge.
Right. And what you mentioned about the emotional part of it, I've been down there and where you're in a cubby, somebody else might be in the cubby next to you, this type of thing. And you hear this person and they're giving this whole story. They lost their job, that all this stuff. The appraisal district could care less. That's not what they're there for. Actually, I think that turns them off in getting a better deal. Just go down the probably the least amount you can say. Here's the paper to back up what I'm saying, because they need that in case they're audited, and say, this is the difference. Here's 3 houses on my street. This is, and they want to see what they sold for too, not, oh, the house across the street's on the market and it's a really low. It hasn't sold yet. So that's not necessarily true. And so don't give them the sob story, because that's just going to irritate them. Go in, be concise, and stick to the points of your home and nothing else.
I think that's so smart. And it goes back, I don't know who said it, so we can give credit to Churchill or whoever it was, but some famous person once said, I didn't have time to write a short letter, so I wrote this long one. Meaning it's a lot easier to just sit there and just spew, whether it's information or create all this sob story. People don't want that. It takes more effort, takes more time to put together a concise, accurate report, and to just get straight to the point. And to what you just alluded to earlier about your schedule, we're all busy. I don't know a soul where I call them and they just say, I'm hanging around doing nothing at my job. Right. The reality is everybody's got stuff to do. And if you're sitting there taking up their time with stories that they don't care about, because their job is to assess the house, the condition, and the value, that it doesn't matter why, it doesn't matter how, they just care where it is. So I think that is so poignant to just make sure that you understand, stick to the point, get in, get out, use the appropriate amount of words, use the appropriate amount of paper, but don't use any more than you need to. So I think that's so huge.
And if you've got clients that say, hey, I think I really do want to do it on my own, if they want to email me and run something by me, I'm happy to say, hey, this is the right direction. This is the wrong direction. Send me what you think are the comps. And I might even help you and send you a little packet and say, hey, you go try this year. But if not, just call me back next year. And just for helping you out a little bit, just tell a couple of your friends, hey, this guy helped me out. Maybe you might want to try him if you don't want to do it on your own.
Yeah, and you and I work off goodwill and good faith all the time, right? We don't get paid until results happen in both
Right.
our industries. So our job is to make new friends, meet new people, help people out. I'd also say to just try to save you some effort. If somebody's trying to do it on their own, reach out to the real estate professional that helped you with your home, or even a different one that's local that can help you pull the comps. Because again, to your point, which you said earlier, comps are only comps when they've sold.
Right.
Until something sells, there's no comp. It doesn't matter what it's listed for.
And with the realtors, the one thing that I will caution is that a lot of times somebody will say, my realtor told me this. And I'm like, there's different values. You have an insurance value. You've got your appraisal value when you buy it. You've got your value for the tax rolls. And so you've got to be able to make the adjustments between your home and their home. And it's not just like you said earlier, this dollar per square foot. There's a lot of different things you got to look at. And you also have to make sure that not every $2 million house on the street is the same class. In Dallas County, there's a 23, there's a 24, there's a 25, there's a 26. So you really want to be comparing to the homes that are in your class, and the realtor that just runs the comps, unless they go on DCAD's site and start notating that, where I've got a program that it does it all for you. And
That's the key right there. So in other words, the aha moment in what you just said was, let's take 4 different scenarios. You got the realtor's assessment of value, you got the appraiser, the insurance person, and you. So what's the difference? In that order, the realtor's job is to assess what they can sell it for, which is the highest value they can figure out somebody's willing to pay for the house.
yes,
But that's a different number than the appraiser. The appraiser is going to tell us what can the bank resell the house for, whether it's not this one buyer who's willing to overpay because it's just their dream house, but an appraiser is there to make sure it's worth the value that anybody else would pay, protecting the lender. The insurance person is saying, how much does it cost to rebuild the house, right? And that can fluctuate based on supply, demand, labor shortages, supply shortages, etc. And then yours you're trying to come up with the ugliest, lowest, smallest value to get taxed on. You're right. Even if you ask for the other professionals, you can ask a buddy or your uncle who's a realtor, you can ask your aunt who's an appraiser, and your cousin who's an insurance person. All three are going to give values based on their expertise and their backgrounds, but it's not what you just mentioned, which is trying to help the taxing authorities come up with their value for taxing. So that is really well said. You can't put that much stock. You can, it's better than nothing,
Right.
but understand the point of view from where somebody's coming from and the information they're giving you. It's probably an oversimplification because I don't pretend to know in depth what any of those four people do. I know enough to know it on the surface, but I can't go and execute either one of those four jobs. So I think that's the part people need to come in and realize and be humble that just because they've been told something by a professional, it doesn't necessarily mean that's where it is based on, your expertise and what you can do for them for a taxing purpose.
And I'll tell you too, like in Collin County, for instance, if you're buying a home and you're getting a mortgage on it, they might go on the other side of Hoyt or Preston or Park or whatever to find a house that they think is the most similar to your house. Whereas the Collin County Appraisal District says we're only going to stick on these streets, that their lines that they have are just, it's crazy. But so they want to be first in this little bitty neighborhood. And they're like, there's nothing within their unit. And I'm like, yeah, there's homes right here. That's a different zone and that's a different appraiser. And that's the end of it. So it is different when you look at it all these different ways.
And I don't know if you did this for everybody with us, but when we had, I think you're managing 16 properties for us at one time, when we had all those investment properties, I loved it where I don't recall having to do anything. Now, mind you, Caroline's very much, she's on it. But the reality is, I know I'm willing to bet every year you proactively reached out to us because I remember her and I having that conversation, just how neat it was to have an advocate in the corner to say, here's what we do. And going back to the piece about knowing the market, which you just described, made me think of this. Again, your time is valuable. And if there's no reason to contest something on a number of occasions, you would go. And I remember being so impressed with you for the very first year. We gave you the portfolio, said, here's what we got. You said, we're going to contest these 8. And Evan, I thought you were nuts. I was like, there's no way he's getting anything out of these 4, whatever they were, wherever they were. I'll be darned, you got all 8 and you neglected the other ones or whatever it was that we had at the time because you just know the market so well. You know what you can get. It was a quick analysis and it wasn't this back and forth him and hawing. I was just so amazed. I was like, man, if he gets it, you're worth every penny. And buddy, over the years, I was trying to think of that before today's call. I don't know how many tens of thousands, but I know you saved me a ton of money over our relationship together. And I just want to say thank you for that. And if I can't stress this enough, like I wish there were more Evans. And I know we've had that conversation too, how it's just hard to scale what you do because you're so good at what you do. It's just hard to put that knowledge into somebody else. But I can just advocate for you to say, man, you're hugely worth it. And I appreciate all that you've done for me and for our clients over the years. You're incredible. Any last parting thoughts? Any last piece of advice?
Like I said, if you want to do it yourself, if you want to use me, if you want to use somebody else, the one thing that I would never do, don't ever pay anybody in advance. Because there's a lot of companies out there, they want just like a processing fee to sign you up. I don't charge anything. There's nothing up front because they'll take that $50 or $100 processing fee and half the time they don't even file a protest. The other thing is with a lot of these companies, you're going to get stuff in the mail. And I actually got one the other day and I called the company. It says, we could save you X number of dollars. You didn't, your property tax company didn't do their job. And I called them and I said, first of all, my house is as low as it goes. It's not going any lower. And I told them, I said, the guy that started this company, he's a young guy in his 20s. And I said, I've been living in my house almost as long as he's been alive. And I said, I know that the house, I know the neighborhood. So I said, I don't need to go steal other people's clients. But I said, you instead work together because there's a lot of times when somebody will call me from a county that I don't handle, I have to go out and refer them to somebody else. And I'm hoping for the same thing for them. I don't ask them for a fee or anything else. But if they're promising you a number, it's not going to work. People will call me and they'll be like, what do you think you can get off? And I said, look, I can run numbers 3 or 4 different ways. And I think I can be in this range. But if a lot has to do with that appraiser that you're talking to, or that board that you're talking to and how they decide to vote on what you present. And they have a range also. So don't be fooled by some letter that you get in the mail that says, we're going to save you $1,300 on your taxes and your whatever it is, because it's usually not true. And then what happens is I've had clients that have switched to some of those companies. They call me back the next year. And I had one the other day, and the guy's secretary called me and he said he shouldn't have switched because he didn't get anything. And I had always saved him something every year.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and I'll make a quick commercial for both of us now. You got to work with a professional and someone you know and trust.
Yeah.
And that last one, the trust is the biggest piece, is trust that they are a professional and that they do have your best interest. Because the hardest question you get is that, which is how much you're going to save me in advance. First of all, you don't know until things play out. And the same with us. They call us, what's your rate? I don't know, until we do the work and until you find a house, until we know where the market is and you're ready to lock and you do all these other things. I'm almost doing a disservice. You know, if you and I give them a rate, and I understand we need to give them something, they need to know that we are trustworthy, but it's so hard to do because if we say something that's too conservative, because you and I don't want to ever misrepresent. So if we go conservative, they might not use us and then go to somebody else who's willing to say things that they can't necessarily back up. And sometimes maybe they get lucky and they do, sometimes maybe it's not, but it stinks because you and I lose that business and we get paid to actually close deals.
Right.
So I would just say, the biggest thing for anybody is you do get what you pay for in life, but more importantly, pick somebody that you know and trust. And again, I don't know, there may be guys that are less. I think you should raise your fees based on what you do and how good you are, but that's just me. But the reality is you've had this same cost structure since I've known you. It's not gone up, which has been easy, I think 10 years, if not longer. But the reality is people need to work with people they like, people they trust, and just make sure that they're knowledgeable and not misrepresenting, because the people that throw numbers out there, they can't. Exactly what you just said, but so well said, my friend.
The other thing is that you and I both live in the neighborhood. We volunteer in the neighborhood. We've got kids that are doing stuff in the neighborhood. So we're real people. A lot of these companies, whether it be a mortgage company or my type of company, they've got call centers somewhere, and you're not dealing with you're not dealing with me. You have no idea who's really handling your mortgage or who's really handling your property taxes. And they know if they hire my company, I'm the only one. So
Yep.
I'm going to be the one representing them.
Well, buddy, like I said, I appreciate you so much. Give me your time today, and it's always good to catch up with you. And thank you for all that you've done for my family and the clients that we work with. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
All right, bud. Enjoy your day. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Thanks. Take care.